You look like you have a question.
Sure. Speaker, can you talk about how these bills are going to pass out of the House versus the Senate? It sounds like there's going to be identical bills. Do they need to both pass out of each chamber? How do they end up getting combined?
No, they don't, Ryland, but what we've tried to do is understanding that this may be an expedited session. We wanted to make sure that there was as many places to have hearings, to take testimony, to be transparent as possible. Much of the stuff that almost all of the stuff that we passed today in House Joint Resolution 1 was also passed in House Joint Resolution 77. Stuff that didn't, quite frankly, need exhaustive debate. I think you saw in both the committee as well as on the floor, there was very little discussion about the things that were actually in the bill. I think everybody was pretty understanding of what that was. Some of these other issues that do require more debate, not simply an extension of something or an expiration of something, I think it does demand greater exposure. And so we felt like that since we are in here under valuable time, that the best way to accomplish that was to have bills moving at the same time in both chambers. So members could become engaged. Again, there'd be multiple opportunities for the public to be engaged, and just felt like it was a better process.
Can you talk procedurally though how that works? Like, I thought that a bill has to get 3 readings on one side, get 3 readings on the other side. How does that end up happening with each one of these discrete?
This actually goes back to the Supreme Court decision in gosh, I don't remember the
Senate Bill 151.
Yes, thank you. I can't remember what year that was though, where Justice Van Meter, in his opinion, wrote that he thought we actually had the ability to waive readings as long as the bill was intact and it had been the same. So that's what we did on House Joint Resolution 1, was we waived the readings. The Senate will pass it, they will waive their readings, and we will finally pass that bill with that. Again, it could happen that way. There's also Rule 58 of the House rules and Senate rules, and actually I don't know what number it is in the Senate, allows for the substitution of other bills. So since we're not 100% sure which bills are going to pass, we wanted the option to be able to pass either bill, depending upon which one was ready to go when everybody was ready to go. So that's the reason for giving them their readings on each side at that point in time.
Thanks.
Mr. Speaker, how many bills are we looking at, resolutions? It sounds like there were 6 in the Senate. And
I think there's 6 total.
Okay, and what are going to be the biggest sticking points, do you feel?
Well, the first one is the joint resolution that we just passed. The Senate has not passed that yet. I think they passed it out of committee. The second one is an economic development bill that gives the Economic Development Cabinet additional incentives to seek some large projects. I don't see a tremendous amount of sticking point on that. The third one, which I don't think will create much debate, or at least difference of opinion, may create some debate, but is the legislator compensation bill, which the way our Constitution is worded, it says specifically that we cannot change our compensation when we are in session. So if this was a protracted session and we had to wait 8 or 10 days for the governor to veto bills, then we technically would have to be paid for those days, even though we wouldn't be making legislation or doing anything of consequence other than waiting on the governor. And this is a bill that will allow us, in certain circumstances, during extraordinary sessions, if there is a protracted veto session, that we don't have to get paid. So that one is, again, may cause some debate, but not necessarily a real sticking point. Beyond that, there is the health and welfare bill that will prescribe some additional therapies, provide some, along with an appropriation bill that will provide the funding for those therapies, the testing, test and stay for schools, and then the education bill, which will offer some flexibility in calendar for schools across the state.
Speaker, on the economic development bill, I know Whitney Westfield had an early draft posted on his blog. What does the final bill look like in terms of the KEDFA loans, worker training for the Glendale site?
I'm not 100% sure which version, John, that he posted on his
Yeah, I
site.
think it had $350 million for forgivable loans from KEDFA for one or more companies. You know, everybody went up $2 billion.
Generally speaking, it's the same bill.
Okay,
I don't know
$50 million
technically which. Again, everything's had some technical changes on it, so I don't know if he's got the most recent bill up there or not. But conceptually, that bill has not changed in the last several days.
You're going to have to go 5 days to get all this.
We will go as long as we have to, within reason. I mean, we this is not a normal session. This is not one where we are here for a set period of time with a deadline at the end where we have to leave. That said, we need to be appreciative of the fact that while $60,000 or $70,000 a day, whatever the cost is estimated to be these days of a special session, it is not a huge portion of the total cost when you look at one line item that appropriates $69 million. But at the same time, we don't need to be dismissive of that. We need to be very conscientious about what we do, and we need to understand that this is an extraordinary session. And if we can reach quick resolution, then that's what we need to do. But if we can't, then we probably need to go home.
Do you see any other bills that may run as quickly as House Joint Resolution 1 did?
No, I don't think we will pass another bill today.
Okay, we've got one
As
more
far
question.
as the education bill, do you feel like the education bill adequately fixes the issues that a lot of districts are having as far as being able to respond to COVID-19?
Yeah, Joe, I don't think that any bill will completely fix every single issue that every school's having. I think that this bill will give the flexibility to school districts that they need to manage this crisis and manage their school populations. I'm sure that there are some that would like to have some different things in there, but by and large, the response has been overwhelmingly positive about the things that are in the bill that we've gotten so far. School Boards Association, Superintendents Association have all been very, very supportive of the flexibility that they are getting in that bill.
Take
Speaker,
Courier
will you
Journal
give the
first, please.
governor?
Courier Journal first, he's been waiting for a long
I'm sorry. So the 10 NTI days, the education bill, as I understand it, doesn't add them, but has 20 remote learning days, which are different. Why specifically have that difference of the two?
Because it's the flexibility that schools asked for. Really, what they hoped to avoid was the necessity of having to shut down an entire district out of isolated situations. What this does is allows them to keep the vast majority of their students in school. If, for example, there is an outbreak in one grade level or one building or one particular school or one particular group of students, it keeps them from having to shut down the entire system in order to accommodate a small number of people. And with NTI days, it has to be system-wide. And so they wouldn't be given that flexibility. This also allows for the flexibility to allow the teachers to be remote. We know that the teachers are, the school systems are having a hard time getting enough staff. And if a group of teachers or several teachers have to go into quarantine, then and often in several cases they're having to cancel classes because they don't have enough teachers. And this allows the students to actually be in the school, but may take the teacher out of the school and allow them to teach remotely. So it just gives them a lot more flexibility.
Last question, Carolina.
When it comes to masking, the governor has asked for at least some type of ability to be able to jump in, a threshold, if you will. Any chance that you guys will give him some type of power to be able to enact a mask mandate across the state, or is that something you're not even considering at all?
And we're still discussing those things, but by and large, I believe that it's the overwhelming belief that that should be made on a local level as opposed to on a statewide level to allow local governments to react to situations going on in their particular areas as opposed to being on a one-size-fits-all statewide basis. I think that you will see, in all likelihood, you will see some jurisdictions continue masking right now. There may be some that won't.